Hello and welcome, esports fans. We are here live with the EGF this week's series of Overwatch. It's 4:15 every single week, same day, Thursday. I'm FBI Tugboat casting with me, producing away, making my job just so much easier. Excuse me, is Navik, and of course casting with is Ben. Ben, how are we doing today, my man? Or
I'm
Dell,
doing.
excuse me. That's what you prefer to go by, correct?
It's all good. It's all love. I'm doing great. It's a good day for Overwatch. We got some of my favorite high school teams heading into the match. We're gonna be heading right into Oasis here, starting off, and it's gonna be a good time. And so for the map pool today, we're gonna start off with Oasis for control. We'll be moving to Paris for assault. Kings Row will be our hybrid, and Route 66 will be our escort. And if we need to, we'll go to Lijiang. But until then, we'll head right into the action on Oasis. And what do you think we're gonna see today from the experiments and the pioneers?
Experiments and pioneers. I think. Well, I think everybody has an opinion on double shields, right?
Of course.
I personally, playing, casting, observing. Those are really the three big things. Playing, absolutely despise it, my man Dell. Absolutely despise it. I'm Lucio main, so my character's been all but made entirely useless because of those changes. Now, observing it, it is interesting. There are intricacies that I find very, very interesting. Casting it is also just not my favorite.
Yeah, it's an interesting meta for sure, and one of the nice things that we've seen in the past from the pioneers is they definitely have innovated a little bit. You know, we've seen Nelsay flex his hero pool a couple of times. We've seen him on the Doomfist, we've seen him on the Widow, and we've even seen some fair out of him, I believe, too. So hopefully the double shield today will be a little bit different than what we've expected in the past, but we'll definitely have to see. You know, you have to also think about Oasis. Oasis is one of those maps that uh, doesn't always favor double shield just due to the nature of how open some of the points are.
Yeah, a very, very good point. A very good point. And of course, this production put on by the UConn School of Engineering. Appreciate that, making this job just so much possible. And UConn Gaming as well, our two big sponsors. We really, really appreciate them.
Yeah, you know they've been supporting the programs, supporting these high schoolers for several years now, and that's always nice to see. And you know, it's one thing to have all these online tournaments, but then to actually host those events and get those kids some land experience, it's a wonderful thing. But
It really is. It really is. And I mean, it's so important to go forth and get that experience, here online as well as land. I mean, obviously, I would talk all the time about how you cannot recreate the land experience, right?
exactly, yeah. And I mean, I personally play for a collegiate team, so we have a LAN set up, and I know that it's made a world of difference. And I know that that experience for these high schoolers is kind of the end goal. And you know, we've seen people like the Pioneers. You know, last year they didn't have the season that they wanted, but this year it seemed to be their redemption arc so far. And you know, heading into this match, you know, you have to give them the kind of the favorite, just due to their experience, and then also, I think. From a skill perspective, we just know a little bit more about them than the experiments today. But if you had to
The pioneers,
prophesize, oh yeah,
right? Yeah. Okay.
if you had
Gotcha.
if you had to prophesize what the experiments would pull out today, do you think they're gonna go crazy, or what do you think we'll see?
I mean, there's nothing saying that you have to, go by, you have to go by, what they do in the Overwatch League, what you see in Tier 2 necessarily. But I would not be surprised if they did. Like, obviously, double shield being the Orisa, being the Sigma, being the, excuse me, well, I guess healers are kind of up and down, but it's almost always your Reaper, your Mei, or your Sombra, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I think one of the interesting things that we haven't seen a lot of, that we see of more in comp recently too, is opting for the Brigitte for the Lucio. You know, we've seen some very successful people in comp lately, and maybe that's something that these comp meta adaptations will see from these high school teams. You know, and one of the things also we might see is just kind of these unique strategies. I know last year there were some teams that ran Bastion all the time still, and you know we've seen that completely mixed up, and the meta and what we see is definitely different in this high school league here.
Yeah, no, I got you. The guys are learning, right?
For
And
sure.
you're obviously recreating what you do see, more established players. Not necessarily better by any means, because I can guarantee that a lot of these Overwatch League players, a lot of these Overwatch contenders players, especially some of the bigger names, are going to be names that you guys know and have come from these collegiate, occupations. Before that, obviously, high school here with EGF and the big stuff they're doing for the scene, right? Like you got to start somewhere, right?
Exactly. Well, and, you know, the way I see it is that a lot of these people players have not really had the exposure to the competitive aspect of gaming. I know that as my own journey, gaming is a lot more than just a form of entertainment or a way to consume media. So for some of these kids, making the journey from casual media consumption to an actual competition of a sport this is where it starts. When I was in high school, I played hockey, and I know that my love of competing started there for sure. And so having the opportunity to start that love of competitive gaming and a team aspect is one of those things that I feel like gets these kids off to a better start. And then we see eventually in the future, more kids like Sugar Free, but with a little bit more exposure early on. Because what if we found Sugar Free at age 8? What could the man have done on Doomfist?
Yeah, I'll never forget. I'll never forget the. There was a young guy that I saw who was really good at Fortnite, gassing at a LAN a while ago. We actually played with the Xbox controller upside down. PC was a little bit beyond him at the time. I think he was 11 or 12 years old, but relatively smaller kid. And actually, like I said, played with the controller upside down. The controller too big, too large. ERA experimenters and Farmington Pioneers. I think I gave my prediction here for the Pioneers. Experimenters, what are we thinking? Excuse me. I gave my experimenters prediction. Pioneers, what are we thinking here?
I think one of the things that we'll see is just kind of a loose dive composition of sorts. It's really hard to say. Pioneers have been very versatile, and I have no information on the experiments other than they're a wacky and fun group from the match chat. But
well, with a name like that, right? I can guarantee you they'll be doing maybe something a little bit different. Something I do like, I guess, is the versatility between the DPS characters that we do see. I mean, you really don't get much more different than Doomfist, Sombra, and Reaper, right?
Yeah, exactly. The variety is always nice, and I think now especially. So we most recently had a patch. It was actually this Tuesday, which it won't.
Let's talk about that. What am I thinking about?
it won't really shake up the meta too much, I think, from approach perspective. But I think for someone that's exists in a space like this, it's a great patch to see. Just because we've seen major changes to how Sigma works, we've seen major changes to how Symmetra works, and that gets us away from more of the Star Wars gameplay, as I like to call
it. Lasers everywhere, and then I get it. The lasers, exactly. And swords and shields. No, I'm 100% with it.
And Doomfist changes as well.
Yes,
are very big.
Oh my goodness. So now Doomfist, you have to charge for a full 1.4 seconds, whereas you achieved your maximum rocket punch damage before at 1 second. So now that's getting literally a 40% increase on that. I do believe he only gets 30 shields now instead of 35, whereas he used to get that 35 for every move and every one of his abilities that he did land. But really what I'm looking at here, those Roadhog changes. Oh my goodness, I love it. I have loved playing Roadhog since day one Overwatch, and they gave my man another shot in a scrap gun.
Yes, that's a big change as well. I feel like also the interactions with Sigma will also just create a lot of counterplay opportunities. That's one of those things that you don't always get to see with balance changes, but adding more counterplay is always welcome. And I think Roadhog is one of those things that a Roadhog specialist might be making a return. If you're really good at the hero,
I'm not that far. I definitely wouldn't call myself a specialist by any means, but I do love the character, and I love that he is still part of this game in a great way. Obviously, with one of maybe the most unique interrupt in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, the hog is obviously it's not just an interrupt, but it moves the other player significantly. I don't think you could really say there's anything else in the game that so directly moves an opposing player forcefully, right?
Exactly. One of the biggest and scariest memories I can ever remember was good old-fashioned 4 Roadhogs, and you chain hook them off a cliff. That's one of those things that you don't get to experience these days, but it's like. Yeah. That level of dislocation.
From, their spawn door, off to the side on Hollywood or Route 66. I mean, literally off the side of it, or use one of the very, very few environmental kill patches on Kings Row.
Yeah,
well, there's really only the 2, right? I mean, there's not.
The one that I was thinking of was Hanamura. I believe there was an old Reddit clip of someone walked out the door and they got hooked, and then off the map, and it's just oof. That we need to inspire fear in the players' hearts like we used to do.
This is not right. You got to stand up for what you believe in, right, Del?
I believe in one-shots and one-shot accessories. My friend. Yeah. Bring back one-shot hook. Bring back one-shot Doomfist. Yep. Bring back everything. Honestly, one-shot McCree while we're at it.
One-shot McCree. I love it. I love it. All kinds of proposed changes, we'll call them, coming on in here to Overwatch by these two casters. Two South Carolina boys at the same time as well. Dell, I believe you were born and raised here in the great state of South Carolina. Is that correct?
No, I just attend college, but I'm from Montana.
Cup, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked. Well, this is the last vamping we'll do, last filling we'll do here. But you are actually in college right now, and you are involved in Winthrop University's esports program. Is that correct?
Yep, I get a scholarship and everything. It's a real cool deal. And if you ever want any questions about collegiate Overwatch, parents, players, coaches, come talk to me.
Yeah,
I'd love to talk to you about it.
Absolutely. Dell's a smart guy. I've worked with Erskine College a plenty. Between the two of us, I'm sure you could get a couple answers at least about South Carolina esports, which is on the up and up. Not necessarily as big as South Georgia, especially some of the stuff that Georgia Tech and stuff like that is doing. Really, really awesome, interesting, and exciting things going over there in the southern part of Georgia. South Carolina, not too far away. We were just right behind them. 5 seconds to go here before we start. Or excuse me, 30 seconds to go here before we start. We got Flying Monk. We got T-Soldier. We got Blutening Lightning. We're just going to call him Blue. Mom on the Symmetra. Lone on that Genji. And Happy Boyo over on that Roadhog. We're going to have Dell over here run through the composition of the other team.
So we got Zen on Roadhog, we got Nelsie on Hanzo, Anime Girls on Moira, Wheezy locking it down with Lucio, Mayo on Orisa, and Super on Reaper.
Yes,
somewhat a little bit different, but we're going to be heading right into it with both teams sticking on to all original cast members.
Yep, and like you said, very, very different. Not exactly what these two casters were predicting for the future. Now, this is the Pioneers in the red, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Pioneers in the red over here on the top right, headed by Zen and Moore. Big pull out here to start this one off. That is, you're not going to take out a Genji that easily, especially not that early. Usually, a big pull on that as Wheezy finds himself an environmental, and Mayo not to be outdone here. Pulls off the Soldier, or excuse me, pulls off T-Soldier, who's playing Reinhardt. We're just going to call him T-Soldier, not calling him Soldier. I think might get a little bit confusing here, Dell.
A little bit, but one of the big things that we saw there is we saw some Zen going really big on the hooks, and we are going to see a counter from Happy Boyo. We're going to go on D.Va to switch that, to change up this next fight here.
Brig up top, kind of the James Bond of Brigettes right here, and is going to pay the price. You stand still with no shield up. I'm sorry, but you're going to eat an arrow every single time. Now, this is Nels still getting it on, and Mayo with a double pull. Dude, mine eyes deceive me, Dell.
No, I believe that was Mayo showing up huge. One of the big things that we saw last match was Mayo getting incredible value out of this Orisa. It seems to be a specialty of sorts.
Rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling, because this is a stagger for the ages. Happy Boyo cannot even go over to have not even a graceful death, just a death in general. And now a huge stagger coming out. Now, of course, this D.Va is going to get back pretty quickly, but T-Soldier getting hooks like that, if we had to call an MVP so far, that would be Zen 1,000 times over. Or Exen? That might be confusing, right?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not too sure.
We're going to call him Exen. Calling him Zen might get a little bit confusing because of the player Zenyatta in the game of Overwatch. Zen! I'll say it with a lot of emphasis like our producer did.
But anyways, one of the big things that I love to see from Zen is that he's inspiring fear. We talked a lot about that. The pressure of Roadhog hook is something that needs to be respected, and I guess Zen's going to be showing him the hard way. Yeah,
no, seriously. I mean, starting off engagements like this is going to buy your team value every single time, right? I mean, that picture perfect start. An early pick, especially onto a tank or a support, like, you don't get better than that, and you're not even using ultimates. In fact, now that I say that, I don't believe that anybody on the side of the Pioneers has used ultimate now. Gotta prove me wrong in here is Mayo dropping that Orisa ultimate right off the top. Zen finding a lot of value with that Roadhog ultimate, and just reporting the news here, my friend Dell, that was what is known in the business as a stomp.
Yes, a little bit. I did want to say Happy Boy did get that big eat there, and Nelson did not give him any respect, but Happy Boy did get the eat. So maybe something can be said from that. One D.Va eat is the way to a great victory. First it's a Hanzo, maybe a Grav. Eventually we'll get there. But,
I mean, those really are some of the bigger ultimates, but I'm 100% with you. Being able to utilize that D.Va ability, get up close and personal, and eat that, especially with the changes that came to her recently. Like, you guys have to time that so much better now, right?
Exactly, and Matrix just means that it's available more, so there's lots of opportunities for a better D.Va to get big plays. But as we head into this map, we're not going to really see the compositions change up too much. We are going to see Zen on the ball though, and a Bastion.
You gotta say with the emphasis, the Zen, like Navik said. Oh, I love it. Yeah, so like you said, wholesale changes coming out from the side of the Pioneers, again headed by Zen here. I think Nelson's going to find a lot of value onto this Bastion. We'll see how that goes. Happy Boyo getting 600 damage against him just as quickly as you possibly can. That's what's going to happen when you have players like this Zenyatta, Wheezy, against him. Throw a Discord orb on top, 30% extra damage, and like I said, that's how it's going to go every single time. So we're looking at an Experimenter's team that is really just getting shut down in every way, shape, and form, Del.
Exactly, and one of those things that we have experienced before in EGF is just the levels of experience are definitely different, and that can come into it. And then I think you think about what does your game plan change, and from there it goes on to keeping a level head, making sure you're a good teammate, and then gaining that experience that can help you for the next battle.
Yeah, T-Soldier saying on this Reinhardt, and I do believe he has fallen first a couple of these team fights now.
Yes.
Hey, Overwatch is not Dota, it is not League of Legends. You can change in between during games for a reason, and I cannot imagine that we're looking at an Experimenter's team that is going to stay on this composition throughout. Now, they didn't change it all last game, did they?
No, I believe that they stayed the same, and I think it comes down to personal experience, We're seeing a master.
Yeah, I'm not sure what T-Soldier thinks he is going to get from going out there, Discord Orb on top, and trying to stand down a Bastion. And this Bastion, honestly, is just wholesale damage, wholesale failure on the side of Experimenters, because he's even getting the headshots in with his regular weapon. I do not remember what that's called. With his recon mode, the not tank formation, not the ultimate, but yeah, I don't know. Big charge coming on in here is now Mayo choosing to pull that monkey ultimate, pushing everybody around, and so far displacing exactly how he needs to. Nels still getting his pick of the litter as far as what picks he wants to go off, and we're still not seeing any switches by the Experimenters.
Yeah, no, you'd think we'd see something at least by now, We've mentioned T-Soldier, but it just doesn't seem like the Pioneers are giving any respect at all, just holding this door here. One of the big things that we're going to see come from the Experimenters is the Blade, and maybe we'll find some luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, Flying Monkey hits himself another heal, then he's going to be able to put Lone to work, but as I say that, Felling is burning, or is blue, his mom, his T-Soldier now back, and 94% to go is really just not a good, just not a good way to do this. Now, it's not like they're not trying. Now, Experimenter's not giving up, they're not throwing by any means, but just everything they have tried so far outside of switching has just not worked.
Yeah, the level of gameplay is just a little bit different, and that can happen. But we did see a little bit of difference from Happy Boy. We saw him swap. I believe he was the only one swapping from the Experimenter side. So maybe in the quick break they'll have a quick regroup and figure out something a little bit more optimal to run to the situation.
What did he switch to? I thought he played Diva Throw out.
Before, I think he started on Roadhog as well. I believe he got first killed by
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. Yep, yeah, very, very good point. There you go. That's why for every half decent play-by-play man like me, you gotta have an awesome color commentator like Dell here who has better memory as well. Very, very good point. Now, what sticks out to me here is Mayo with the 3 environmental kills.
I've never seen that card before.
Yeah, that's because of how rare it is, right? I mean, especially on a place like Oasis, there's really only boop capabilities on 2 of these maps, really, and the one where there's more of it, again, 3 pulls, and at least 2 of those were on T-Soldier, the opposing main tank, the opposing Reinhardt, so that's just about as good as you're going to get.
Exactly, and so we're going to be heading into Paris here, which is a little bit different type of map, and doesn't necessarily play to the strengths of the Experimenters. We haven't really seen those strengths yet, but it definitely does play to the strengths of the Pioneers because they already pulled out the Bastion so far, and the first team to pull out Bastion in your ranking is usually the one to win. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It definitely. I mean. Well, I've looked at the chart, Del. I know what the numbers are. Outside of Ultimate, Bastion and tank formation or turret formation, sorry, not tank formation, has the something like twice as high DPS as the next, which of course is Reaper. And of course Reaper requires you to be basically
close.
Point blank, right?
Yeah, no, his damage is about 333 repeating in turret form, and basically for everyone else in the world, that means that he kills almost every hero in the game in about less than a second. So
yeah, exactly. And of course, he can headshot again on his tank for his turret formation. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. And so that
Yeah,
damage
exactly.
could multiply up to 666 repeating. But as we're in the south here, we'll keep it clean, and we're on
Yeah.
Paris. So
Math,
one of the things,
math. What are you?
yeah, one of the things that I really would like to see here from the Pioneers is an innovative dive. We've seen that they clearly have a little bit of strengths, and so that's where I think pulling out something like classic dive, get Tracer Genji, play with my heart a little bit, show us what Overwatch is really about.
I'm with it. I think that is. I think that's kind of punnable as well. You're saying the Pioneers going out for diving, like a little something exploratory, maybe even. But we'll investigate poor puns later. 17 seconds to go. T Soldier going on to the Sigma. Do we talk about his changes?
Yeah, he was on the Rhine of almost all of Oasis, so seeing the Sigma swap is definitely something to pay attention to. The other thing that I wanted to pay attention to is Lone on the Junkrat versus a Genji. Junkrat's just one of my favorite heroes in this current meta, so maybe we'll see some big pipes from him today.
Yeah, interesting. Nels going back on over to the Genji. I don't know really why it is, but I feel like it's frequent that I do see Bastion players also playing Genji. Of course, it is a DPS role, but as we see that Super getting up close and personal, really showing why is maybe playing that one. Nels is right next to him, and when you got a Zenyatta like Wheezy, you're going to be in a great formation no matter what. Mayo being the only player falling from the side of the Pioneers, so this will not be a bloodless attack so far. But with that res on up, we're looking at an entirely full Pioneers team. Going to be taking first point on Oasis just about as quickly as one can.
Lone suffered a caster's curse and died almost immediately there to Super. Super definitely a standout player on Doomfist. Last week we saw some big plays, and he's continuing to get that snowball right on Mom there.
Oh, yep. You gotta have your teleporter up. That's why you're playing this Symmetra, right?
Hopefully.
Switch now onto the double shield composition here. Happy Boyo going on over to that Orisa, finding value on it from so far. Lone really taking on his counterpart on that one, or his counter pick, I guess I should say, with the big explosive damage on up against this the monkey. Only so much damage to be done from that one, but now Blue and Lone are the only players left on the defense. Mom has respawned, but that Symmetra is not going to be able to get there in time. Again, this is a Pioneers team that is absolutely dominated in both of these games so far, and that is the only objective way to call this one.
Yeah, they're trailblazing for sure, and one of the things that you have to
I get it. Please continue, please.
My life is just a series of dad jokes, honestly. But
I'm with it.
The Pioneers, the biggest thing I think that they have going for them is just the fact that they don't really stop. And that's one of the things that on aggression, of course, or on attack, of course, that's good to have that aggression. But what we're not seeing from the experimenters is really kind of any cohesion with their strategy or with their aggressive movements, with their defensive movements. And so, if we're looking at the biggest reason why they're losing, you could point at the obvious gaps, but I think really what I would focus on in the experimenters' case is the fact that their positioning, kind of their setups, is just not optimal. It's not what we need to see from them, and they have quite a long way to go before I feel like we can truly see their potential, just because it feels like they're just getting their feet wet.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about team cohesion, communication, focusing target is definitely one part of it. I feel like their shields have not been quite utilized the way it should, especially if you have a double one on this one. Like the Sigma Orisa composition that you had before, it's almost worth it to just give up, maybe another tick to be able to have 6 players, cohesively defending together, right? Especially when you have close spawn. Opting not to do that and opting to try and take individual picks was that experimenters team. That did not work out. Now we're looking down the barrel about 5 minutes and 40 seconds, about as long a time make as I've seen on Oasis.
Yeah, especially the changes to time. Nelson going for the spawn shots, not going to find the damage that he wants. Will build a little bit of ult charge. The interesting thing from the Pioneers that we're seeing is that they are going for the map score advantage. They're sticking to their bastion, they're sticking to their guns, not letting off the gas at all.
Now this is what I like. Now they seem like a little bit more coordinated. The difference in attention here by T Soldier, but he gets hooked and absolutely demolished in here quickly. Now they do have Blue on over with that Mercy, but that's going to be a tall order to try and get over there. And again, the cohesion, the lack of it. Lone left out by himself. Lone might one even say, and even with a pocket on that and the damage coming from his life suck, not life suck, what is it called? What is his passive ability where you get damage back?
Reaper's Soul
Suck.
Soul Suck?
No,
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
not Soul Suck.
I don't know, something like that.
It's something like that. Soul Suck is the
Something edgy.
Is the vernacular, the pejorative, one might say. But okay, so talk to me about what this experimenters could possibly do to counter this particular composition: the Hog, Widow, Baptiste, Anna, Orisa, Bastion.
I think what we need to see from them is a little bit more burst damage. You know, they're not getting the value out of Symmetra. The teleporters aren't really there. And, you know, a Diva would be nice. A Genji maybe. A Tracer potentially. It really depends. They need something to just dislocate this menacing front line that they're facing. You know, we see Jin sitting here on the corner looking for these hooks, and it's just not giving them any room. There's no room for them to rotate. There's no reason for them to really do anything.
Here comes Reaper Claws, and he comes really close to delivering that nice Christmas package. Of course, that the Baptiste anime girls was actually not really all over that. That came dangerously close to Weezy getting felled, and without a mercy, that was honestly a very good solo person push on that little flank action coming out from him. That might have been a very, very different story had he had ultimate.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, one of the things that we're seeing again is just this not lack of cohesion. You know, we're seeing. The Roadhog chasing and threatening monkeys around, and T-Soldier opting to swap and Lone dropping as well. And just look at how spread out we see these players.
Nelson just like that, like it's just pocket lint or whatever, taking out the DPS core and the main support of the experimenters. Main support, they do have a Mercy and Anna, I suppose. T-Soldier getting punished for his aggression on this as Super just continues blasting away in that turret formation. Now 1, 2, 3, 4 ultimates basically. Once Mayo gets his for the side of the Pioneers, they're in about as good a position as you can get yet again. Now tank formation, come on out here. Blast coming on to Lone. He's not going to be able to put up with that burst damage, getting very, very low on that one. Wheezy ends him in fine fashy form. Now the Anna or Mercy coming in here looks like it might, and oh my god, Happy Boyo chose the wrong time for that Earth Shatter. Now we're looking at a disorganized and disastrous experimenters team who are just looking, grasping, and hoping to find a way in.
Exactly, and with less than a minute remaining, we're hoping we're going to see some value. We're going to see the Mayo drop the bongo and an Anna boost come out as well. Nelsie doesn't need any of that assistance, so just going to get kills without it. Definitely a threat to be reckoned with.
Seriously. I mean, every member so far on the side of Pioneers has proven they've been able to get those kills. I think they did play a Zenyatta, not Zen, but a Zenyatta actually. They got a lot of value on that earlier, like the previous
Definitely.
game.
That was Welshie, I believe.
Lone with the Reaper ultimate, but with a invincibility shield there, and an Anna grenade hitting him just a second beforehand. Not going to be able to get anything from that one. Nels continues on his reign of terror. Another Widowmaker ult after a couple of headshots come out here, and we're going to see Super just gatekeeping right here with the Bastion. Now, we do have a little bit of point presence now, but that's just the Lucio, excuse me, that was flying. Monk switching on over to that one at the very end, try and contest. Now, that is what he needed to have done, but Pioneers, again, just absolutely roll on through. And I tell you, Del, we talked about predictions, just reporting the news. If it's, if the clouds are black, I think it's going to rain. Experimenters have not shown very much life so far. I think the Pioneers are going to be able to 3-0 in them.
Hey, you have to remember that they're going against the Titans, in a sense. Not the actual team, the Titans, but just the Pioneers have had years of experience, and that's something that thing about all the teams, in Overwatch history that's stuck together for a year plus. It pays. It benefits you a lot just to have that kind of chemistry, and especially going through metas, going through hero pools, going through roster swaps, all that stuff can bring a team quite well together. And as this is the debut of the experimenters, they have shown us where they're at, and I only wait to see how far they're going to go. We've seen some very big Cinderella stories happen. I believe last year there was 2 or 3 teams that started off very, very rocky, and by the end of the year they were almost, in contention for those top spots. And we're not very far into the season so far with this high school season, so lots and lots of things to come. Not only this season in the fall, but definitely later on in the spring as well. Overwatch continues to only evolve and adapt in ways that we love, or maybe we don't love so much. But as we head into to Kings Row, I think. Is there any foothold that we can see the experiments kind of grab onto?
Well, I mean, this is a wholesale different map. Kings Row is a crowd favorite for a reason. and that is because it is incredibly well balanced. I think all the way down from, I mean, tier 4 or whatever, I guess you could say, all the way up to professional, traditional players who've even already given up the game. Kings Row has been a widely accepted, enjoyed, loved map by all, and that is because it's very well balanced. Now, I think the only changes substantially we've seen to this map, not since its inception, of course, at its inception, this map was a little bit different and did have to get changed. But again, that was, day 1 Overwatch stuff, or month 2 of Overwatch being out. Has not seen very many changes but what we have seen is people and players taking first point and then getting super, super aggressive as that payload is coming out, and once they get it under the initial bridge here, like under that underpass. I think that's really been the biggest change to this map, is just how people play it, right?
Yeah, exactly. We've come kind of in a full circle in a way. I remember Mendu Sakai with a very famous strat on FaZe Clan where he would use Maywall to boost Bastion up on 3rd point. And man, that was a scary thing. And we've kind of come full circle in that way. That's kind of the meta now. We see a lot of Bastion, we saw a lot of May. Kings Row has come on this quite of a journey as a beloved map, and one of the things that we're going to see here potentially play to the strengths of the experimenters is Mom Symmetra is going to find a lot of value on this map.
Yeah, I mean, Happy Boy was back on over the Orisa, who was showing prominence on earlier. I do think that this double shields composition will do a much better job than they have before. Zen already in the back getting very low, but Sea Soldier goes after him. Oh, no. You got to play with your team, my man. You got to play with your team. Now, Blue is playing that Mercy, so he's going to have the opportunity to res if they do get in there. Zen gets his own res on that and wakes up and takes out the opposing Mercy. That's a great play from a Hammond, about as best as you could accept, and now that's only going to lead to what, 30 seconds off their clock?
Yeah, no, that was a very fast tag. We see less than 45 seconds for that original time, so we'll see about 5.5 minutes here built up. And like you said, that aggression is just not stopped. We see the Tracer of Nelse right in the spawn door.
Yeah, the Tracer, that kind of makes sense, but Lone is actually left out in the lurch here. Oh my goodness. Nels just, yeah, okay, I gotta say, man, just reporting the news. Experimenters have to play together more. They just lost their 2 DPS players because this team is fighting separately.
Exactly. One of the things that pays advantage of the Pioneers is kind of the mental game. This is where you can only be so positive, of course, as you're playing this, and so this is where championship teams are set aside. Coming back from that 2-0 bounce is something that requires a lot of mental fortitude. So hopefully we see from these experimenters just a quick mental reset and see more of that team cohesion that we saw in first point.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we're rolling at a second point, and we're still significantly far away. But, I mean, again, this defense is going to come off the back foot of the Bastion being able to get set up. It always is. Bastion is just such a core, central part of any defense or of any team composition, period. And really, that's all they need to do. They just need to get Lone in a place where he's comfortable and protected and pocketed. Now, Super taking out Soldier on his ultimate off the rip. Blue opting not to pull that res off the rip, as the rest of these Pioneers do get super aggressive, finding value from it all day long.
Exactly. Nelson got a lot of kills there.
Oh my goodness. I'm not sure if I've seen. I don't think I've seen a teleporter yet, man. Honestly, just reporting the news, man. I do not think that I have.
No, I don't think we have either. And one of the things that we have seen is Lone get some kills. We saw Sea Soldier get some frags of himself, but Lone's gonna take himself out, and May's gonna get some nice kills with the Primal Rage there.
I believe he was trying to take out that Tracer and trying to get that shot in there, but of course she did blink back. It happened to hit the corner as he was kind of low. The initial shot and the miss on, or missing or intentionally getting away from that Tracer bomb was big. Nelson was really all up in the grill of this opposing team of the Experimenters, and some fancy footwork did get him away from that one, but it was not to last. And Pioneers take all the way through with 5 minutes in the town bank.
Yeah, 5 minutes and 5 minutes and 15. 5 minutes and 16 seconds here today. One of those times I'll get it right. Just like my alt tracking, just a little too far off. We're gonna see also a defense here, and we've seen Bastion, we've seen Dive, we've seen almost every meta except for Goats, which is sadly not longer allowed. Is there anything that we haven't seen that they could pull out potentially?
Maybe, man. Honestly, man, double shield. I never ever thought I'd say this. If you asked me 6 months ago, it's like, hey, Tugboat, what is the statement that's gonna make you say that you miss Goats comp? The answer would never ever have been double shields ever. But double shields literally makes me miss Goats. I really enjoyed it. Casted like for the Newell, it's like an English collegiate thing, and their longer tournament actually was able to, they did not enforce 2-2-2 because they started it, before before Rollock was in there. And it was really cool casting that all the way. Like I said, it really made me appreciate Ghost, this dual shields, way that has been, how popular it is, really does make me kind of miss that. What the experimenters are at least showing so far, I'm about the Reinhardt with the Diva is always solid, but they have 2 off supports and Mom on over the Torb. I'm not sure, dude. Sim and Torb picks traditionally would be known as throw picks, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Mom not speaking to, mom's kind of like that player in 3 AM comp. You don't necessarily want him, but you have him, and it seems
like your mom literally picking up Overwatch for the first time.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. So Mom is going to look like to take a lot of aggression there. Going to get that first kill in Super, which is big plays. And the interesting thing is we're seeing Mayo flank on Reinhardt with a lot of success.
Yeah, I mean, both of these Reinhardts have gotten super aggressive on the like with a player like Reinhardt too. It's just kind of surprising, not something you see very frequently. Mayo did get all the support in the world and was able to pick up several death kills on that. Now he's very close to his Earth Shatter. Now T-Soldier has gotten a couple really great charges so far, but I feel like that has kind of been the end of his success so far. And Flying Monkey going in, diving in first by himself is not going to be the way to take this point.
It will not, we see Mayo kind of sitting in a position to kind of go for these off-angle charges. Going to drop a big shadow there. Going to find almost everybody.
Yeah, everybody except for Flying Monkey, who did get staggered a little bit out earlier. And now Flying Monkey just looks like he's trying to get himself some ultimate charge, and is not too concerned about feeding the ultimate of the other team. Now, 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go here as we see a Pioneers team back it up a little bit. We do have the Nels up in front, getting close and personal. Is playing that May, and a nasty charge against T-Soldier, actually. That was a very, very well timed on that. Mayo getting super low, and we're not seeing an Experimenter team that was able to take him out there. In fact, it was the other Reinhardt that did fall immediately afterwards. Now a Blizzard leads to all but a team wipe against them. 2 minutes, 17 seconds to go. We do have a Diva on point, but that is not going to lead to first tick.
No, it won't, for sure. We've seen Happy Boyo get staggered before, and he won't get staggered again. We're just not seeing that cohesion. We're seeing a little bit of teamwork, some glimmers of greatness. We've seen some kills, but not the follow through that we want to see as we kind of head into these last minutes of King's Row.
Yep, a fantastic map indeed, and just again reporting the news so far, we've seen the Pioneers having a very, very dominant performance so far, but we do have a couple ultimates coming up on the side of the Experimenters. Shattered Down is going to get blocked off by a opposing Reinhardt shield, unfortunately. Lone does have that Soldier ultimate, could be able to pull this as the Flying Monkey Sound Bearer does drop. Now we see this up top, aimbot coming through here, that's 1, now 2, nice charge on that one as Wheezy has no choice but to pull out that Zenyatta ultimate, so that was, at the absolute least, that was not for naught, Dell. Forcing out the Zenyatta on the other side is a big ultimate.
We're seeing glimmers of greatness, the Pioneers are definitely the dominant team today, but there is some room for the Experimenters to exist, and maybe we'll see some glimmers of greatness here with a big May ultimate going straight into the sky.
Straight in the sky does land right over the initial choke point here. T-Soldier getting charged, frozen, and coalesced. My oh my, that's a main tank's nightmare right there. Frozen, coalesced, and charged against Happy Boyo again. Not really showing too much of a concern for feeding the ultimate of the other team.
Yeah, exactly. Super finally getting more than 1 kill on his blade, which you gotta hold him accountable. But if you're gonna play Genji, you gotta get at least 3 kills. That's the rule of thumb. But he did get a reflected Torb kill.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, not an emblem that you see very often there. And now actually that's the second one. Oh my. Wait, hang on.
This
Yeah, that was
man.
the second one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
He got 2 of them. Yeah. So obviously he blocked it, and then that Torb ultimate on the ground does become his. Does damage for that. I think 7 seconds that stays out. Can't exactly remember. Now 1 second to go. Nobody able to touch, and the Pioneers take a very clean and quick 3-0 swipe over the Experimenters. I do believe that puts their record up now to 2-1. Is that correct?
I believe so. I'm not super up to date with the standings, but I do know that we will be heading to the map 4 today. We do play all series just for map score, so that will be something that we'll see the return to, I believe, Route 66, which is
66. Love it.
You know, again, not necessarily going to play to the strengths of the Experimenters or the strengths of the Pioneers, but we will see some more interesting gameplay here. It's a pretty interesting card there. 67% kill participation on the May there.
Wow. Wow.
32.
And, of course, yeah, I was also looking at so the 31 kill streak, 32 overall eliminations means that this Moira died 1 time.
1 time. And it makes you wonder, how does a Moira die? You know, like what? She has so many cooldowns, you know, to escape. You know, her health bar went to 0. Come on, Del.
Are we getting like the nitty gritty here? Are we talking about like old age and everything else like that? Like everyone dying at the end of their life? I don't know, man. I don't know. No, but all gravy. Yeah. So we're gonna play a 4th one here for points. We are in the 3rd week of the EGF Overwatch competitions. This is happening every Thursday here, 4:15 Eastern Standard. If there's ever any deviations from that, of course, it will be announced on Twitter. EGF, you can find it EGF, or official EGF, I do believe. And this is the 3rd week. Again, huge shout out here to the UConn School of Engineering and the UConn Gaming Club. They're both sponsoring EGF in this endeavor and making this competition possible. Really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, you know, again, we've talked about them before, and we won't stop talking about them. And as we head into Route 66, I think that the biggest thing that we're going to need to see from the Pioneers is just how can they innovate their gameplay? You know, they're obviously playing for map record. They haven't let off the gas in any way or shape or form. You know, they've been keeping the competition very, very fierce from themselves. So, you know, the one meta we haven't seen from them is double sniper. So maybe we see that make an appearance. You know, run through the quick brief history of Overwatch. You know, just like that one infamous dancing YouTube video. But as we do head into this, we are going to see Nelsig opt back for the Pharah, and I don't believe we saw him play this so far, but I know it's a personal favorite of mine. I know last week he was a terror in the skies, just really enabling himself to get those one-shots, you know. And one of the things that we're going to see also available to them is the fact that they're going to have Discord Orb and Mercy Boost. So any 200 hero that is one-shot, or any 200 hero can be one-shot by Pharah if they're discorded and they receive the damage boosted rocket to the face.
Yes, sir. Even this South Carolina boy, even this play-by-play caster can do that math. 120 is a direct shot. That 30% increase with the damage orb puts you up to, what, that's 30? Yeah, so 36 puts you 156. And then the addition from the Mercy boost will be able to put you down in the dirt very quickly. Now, that's Anime Girl's Mercy falling first, actually, but a big old boop on that. Flying Monkey, actually, you know what that was? That was Mayo coming in, Flying Monkey on the Orisa for the side of the Experimenters, not realizing how much space he had, and then walking off himself, unfortunately. That was not the Winston booping him off with the jump. It was very, very hard to do that.
Yeah, Mayo and Miro, I honestly can't tell them apart at the moment, but the other nice thing to see there was Lone getting a big kill on Torb, which is the first big frag we've seen today.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Was that a direct shot?
I believe so.
Nicely done. Nels showing that he can get it done on the ground as well as up in the sky. Double shields coming out here from Experimenters. Them obviously down one of their supports now after Blue does fall. Mom continuing on with the salmon. Okay. Let's just say it like this. Again, Symmetra is very better when it comes to her teleporter and stuff. Obviously, now it not getting deleted, not going away until it gets damaged out or the switch comes through, or obviously put down a new teleporter. What DPS could you...
Hit scan is one of the things, the magical tool for Pharah, and as we see a Symmetra and a Torbjorn, there is no hit scan to really pressure that Pharah out of the sky. that's Bastion, McCree, Widow, Ashe, any of those heroes would relatively work. We just need to see a little bit mix it up.
I'm with it. Baptiste is technically a hit scan, but that 3-round burst and the inability to fire really fast, obviously it's just the burst or zoom, anything else like that, really will negate his capabilities in a lot of ways to take out a pocketed ferret up top. I can definitely agree with you there. They need some anti-aircraft for this really hard-hitting ferret on the other side.
Yeah, we've seen also here just spamming the choke with the damage boost, and that just means that anytime they want to come through that doorway, they're going to eat about 155 worth of damage, which is just a lot.
Yeah, I mean, with Happy Boy switching on over from the Zenyatta, no Discord orbs necessary on this one anymore. They will have that invincibility shield, the ability instead of Zenyatta Trance. I am not the first caster to point out the kind of in a great way how invincibility shield almost beats out Trance, right? Because I mean, it almost makes Zenyatta not useless, but I feel like you make Baptiste and he's just better than Zenyatta in every way, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things that you've taken away the uniqueness of a kit, and you've put it on someone else in a more powerful or unique way. You say there's trade-offs, you say there's balances, but obviously Baptiste is just a really strong hero right now.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at Baptiste that has his movement ability consistently. He's looking at an ultimate that boosts up even more than your Zenyatta orbs. Now, really, the only utility, the only uniqueness that Zenyatta has left, in my opinion, is a Zenyatta Trance that can be antied, which obviously makes it worse than the ability that comes with the invincibility shield. And you have his burst capabilities with the charge up of orbs. But, in situations like this, if you're looking at a Zenyatta or a Baptiste that cannot stay alive, I'd rather take the Baptiste for the invincibility shield.
Exactly, and you mentioned the mobility too, which definitely plays a factor in. And as we see the Pioneers finish their attack here with a big time bank of 4:32 on the clock, just like the news has been reporting all night long, it's been a one-way ticket, and it's been a one-way ticket to the Pioneers so far. We've seen a little bit of swapping in the way of Happy Boyo opting to play some support, Flying Monkey switching over for the tank, and maybe they thought that in this kind of do or die moment of trying to just mess up that map score, they could pull something out, but they didn't find all that they wanted to. And honestly, the story has remained unchanged for the experimenters today.
No, I hear you. I mean, you pointed it out before I even did. I really liked that. I believe that was Mom or Lone that did take out the main support of the other side initially, just like literally right off the rip. What they need to do is capitalize on picks like that and try to minimize the smaller mistakes like Flying Monkey taking himself a long walk up a short pier that was the side of this and falling to an environmental kill, obviously. Not one that you can get rezzed up. You had your mercy there. Cannot res environmental kills. Now, we're looking at a team. We can talk about the other changes. There was buffs to Tracer. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a damage falloff change. So basically, what that means is that Tracer's guns do a little bit more damage depending on what length that you're at, and so it gives her a little bit more viability in the sense that she doesn't have to be as close as she used to be just to get those one clips or those juicy frags.
Yeah, which is. Well, I'll ask for your opinion before I give my own.
I mean, so the thing with that change is that it's a step in the right direction, but ultimately Tracer is going to have a hard time whenever there's a flying Doomfist on the field.
Nice headshot to start this one off against Lone. The res does come through, so Blue is not going to have that res here in the next 30 seconds or so. Super, not to be outdone, gets himself a headshot and a punch. Happy Boyo falling to some well-placed and fancy footwork from Zend, the Roadhog from the side of the Pioneers. A quick Team K, TK as they call them, the biz coming out for them. 3 minutes and plenty of time left here. But yeah, sorry, you said opinion-wise that you like the Tracer changes?
I like him. Tracer's not going to be viable without Doomfist being gone. Yep. It's just how it works. Counters are too strong, and as we see, look at Super here. Do you think a Tracer's going to stop him?
Nope, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. You're looking at a character that has 150 now. If you're gonna do that, you almost have to change something else. Like you said, Doomfist has the capabilities. I mean, even with his just regular shot, you can two-shot a Tracer up close and personal, which is obviously where these Doomfists and Tracers are gonna spend a lot of their time. Now, something else I see. Oh, nice punch there. Super actually kind of playing around with his food. There was T-Soldier on that one. Just got to call it like I see it. And kind of playing over the side, getting him to come out here, use his hook to go a little bit slower, and then rocket punching him into oblivion. Interesting stuff on that one.
Exactly.
What I like about Tracer though, sorry, what I do not like about the changes is that the longer range ones it's almost like just a buff to higher skill tier players. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
no, it definitely is one of those changes that only affects the upper echelon of players.
like you have to be really good already to be able to be in a position where you can take longer range shots at players that matter without dying. So really, again, that's just only going to be a buff to like almost like your masters and above level tracers.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, as we're seeing that kind of these changes happen, you know, we just have to hope that we see changes keep coming, you know. For teams like the experimenters, you know, they have to have a little bit of creativity or find their own niche and carve out their own play style. And so hopefully we see some changes. And in the meanwhile, we will see about 2 minutes left in the clock. The experimenters are struggling a little bit so far. We're going to see a big beat drop and maybe some progress being made as the Pioneers back up.
Oh man, I'm not really sure what that was. The Happy Boyo got that beat down, and then it was only what I think Flying Monkey that joined him out there. Now with Lone out there, a little bit more team coordination could have led to Happy Boyo getting him out there, or dropping beat, speeding out, and then Lone with that sound, the sound barrier, the shields on top of that do go quickly, but still with some, then pulling ultimate, maybe finding a little bit from it. So maybe if the experimenters are listening or paying attention to this later, that would have made a little bit more sense as far as just team cohesion and how to, the rotation of ultimates.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we've seen Nelsie kind of deny any value just because he's constantly tinking your head. You know, if you have a Lucio beat, it doesn't matter if you get shot 4 times by a full charge Widowmaker. And then Super has just been putting down a lot of threat as well. But you have to remember that almost every aspect of the Pioneers team is geared for fragging. Everyone has a lot of damage, and there's no one really that isn't scary.
No, I hear you, especially with a team playing like this one and with how coordinated they are. Whether you're anime girls on the Baptiste or you're Nels with this hit scan DPS, the big scary Widowmaker, you're going to be able to find kills here regardless. Now, Zen after that Roadhog ultimate, not going to find anything on that. Looking at an experimenter's team that is partially in spawn still. Lone getting punished for coming out and even just showing his face on this one, unfortunately. Happy Boyo trying to little Lucio flank on that one. I do love it as Lucio made myself. And now Lone looking to even the score here. Widowmaker, and this is the last opportunity for the side of the experimenters to get something done on Route 66. Try to take at least a point here. Now the contest comes through, so we are seeing a Flying Monkey that's on that one. Other members of the experimenters trying to join on this. Happy Boyo is not really taking too much damage on that as Lone over there on the side trying to get away from this Roadhog, but that was a nice hook. Wasn't able to follow it up. Wheezy taking 2 big headshots, and I believe this is the end of the dream, my friend.
Yep, the end of the dream, and a rather quick 4-0 today. But like we said, early on in the week of this EGS series, we are going to hopefully see the final blows going down, with Final Monkey being that last one to drop. But we will see the Pioneers take that big 4-0 victory today.
Yes. So they're getting all 4 of their points on this one. Again, we play at least 4 maps, 5 if it is tied going in there, just like your friends over at the Overwatch League. Now this is Nels with the big fair ultimate, I do believe. Yep, right before second point, or right before getting first point, excuse me.
Yeah, you know, we see the struggle dealing with a little bit of Farah just in your face. You know, we saw the Torb tries his best to do anything, but it's just too hard. You know, it's almost one of those things that Farah's just so good right now.
Yeah, she really is. She's been changed recently, but I feel like the game has evolved around her in a way that is really making it so that she is, just simply good. You know, the pharmacy combination has been in Overwatch since day 0 Overwatch, Dell. I'm not sure when you started playing.
Around close beta phase 2.
Okay, yeah. So I was not part of the close, unfortunately. I picked it up once the game actually came out, or I think I picked up open beta, maybe played it then, not 100% sure. I was introduced to it by a friend, played it up at his house one weekend when I was visiting him. Had a really fun time running Mercy and pocketing people, and then running Junkrat and Roadhog, like I was mentioning earlier, my boy Roadhog, and just fell in love with it from there. And that was early season 1. He bought the game brand new on that one.
Yeah, no, I the reason I got into Overwatch is honestly just because it seemed like the game that I could make my name in, and as Heroes Never Die, we will be returning to another week of EGF soon. But for today, that'll be all of our Overwatch between the ERA experiments and the FHS Pioneer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe, like you said, with that, we have reached my least favorite part of any cast, and that is the end, my friend. I'm FBI Tugboat. You can find me over on Twitter at FBI_Tugboat. Of course, this is the EGF official, big high school esports going on all over here. We run many different games, and the schedule as of right now is Tuesday 4:15 is Super Smash Brothers, Wednesday 4:15 is Rocket League, and Thursday, 4:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is your Overwatch. Like you just saw, it'll be on this Twitch page here. And we got my boy Dell. You can find him at. There you go. Dell Overwatch, no underscores, no nothing.
Nope, all one word.
Nice and easy. I like it. Simplicity.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Dell. You know, it's like a computer, but not really.
But no second Dell. I get it.
We live in.
Yes,
but.
sir, yes, sir.
Today was a wonderful day, and I really want to say thank you to all the players, all the casters, all the families, all the people involved in these programs. Of course, a big shout out to our sponsors, the UConn Schools of Engineering, and all those guys. And shout out to our producer, Navak, for always holding it down. But we'll catch you again another time, but it's been a wonderful time, and we'll see you later.